Hi. We are very fortunate at the State Library to have a wonderful literacy program here that does great things statewide. They provide training, they administer a program of literacy tutors, and every year there's an incredible awards ceremony where these people talk about how, you know, they couldn't read, and then through this program they've learned how to read and get jobs and how it's improved the quality of their lives. And it's just one of the, in my opinion, one of the best things that happens in this library because so many lives are affected. So, what does this have to do with targeting autism? Well, these two women here, Deb Aggertt, who is the Associate Director for Library Development, and Beth Paoli, who is sort of the Chief Literacy Consultant, we've had conversations, and they said, well, you know, we deal with a lot of people that either have autism or developmental disabilities or have family members that are impacted by autism, and it just seemed to be a natural fit to kind of bridge the two programs. And so we had discussions, and they've done an amazing job at incorporating books for adult learners and for younger learners, incorporating books that include characters, children's books that include characters on the autism spectrum, family members, you know, just to get the literature out there because it is relevant. And they've also created these wonderful story kits that have sensory components to them. And it's just been a wonderful collaboration between Targeting Autism and Literacy, and I don't want to say too much more about it because then they won't have anything to say. So I'm going to turn this over to Deb Aggertt, who's then going to turn it over to Beth Paoli. So thank you for...
Thanks, Suzanne. Good afternoon, everyone. Hard to be the last people on this dais for the Friday afternoon. But like Suzanne said, I'm the Associate Director of Library Development Group and Literacy. Some of you might know me from one of my previous lives as a public library director. I took over directorship of the Library Development Group and Literacy about 1.5 years ago here at the State Library. And as I was meeting with the literacy staff in one of their workrooms, I noticed a whole bunch of their story kits in these big tubs and bags and everything too, and they're all just kind of sitting there. Well, as a former public library director, you always want to see the materials moving out and everything too. So these kits have been in existence for over 15 years. They were developed for the literacy providers, and they've been used quite heavily by those literacy providers, but the numbers of use have steadily been falling. So I said, why not go ahead and try to catalog the existing ones, put them out to all types of public, academic, school, and special libraries to use. So at about the same time we were thinking of doing that, the autism came to the forefront here in the State Library with Suzanne's program with the forum last year, and I go, maybe there's a connection there. And like Suzanne said, the literacy staff, along with Suzanne and Mary, started having these discussions, started thinking of ways to link autism and literacy together. Somehow we found some funds to create 3 new kits, and we're going to demonstrate those for you today. The literacy and the autism staff reviewed the materials to see if they were relevant. I think we've found some pretty good examples. And we're in the process of adapting over 55 kits for autism awareness, and that we already had in existence. And each of the story kits will have sections in it to how to adapt your environment for autism and on the spectrum friendliness. So we're here to talk to you about the discovery and awareness of these items. They're going to, after today, be cataloged into iShare, so you can discover them right there. Look for coming PR and information in e-news and the system newsletters. And right now I'm going to turn it over to Beth, who's going to demonstrate those 3 kits, and then I'll talk to you a little bit more about how to check it out. So this is Beth Paoli.
Hi everyone, thank you for the opportunity to talk about the collaboration that the Literacy Department and the Autism Department have put together. To begin with, I want to give you just a little bit of background about what the Literacy Office does and then how these began and how we've adapted them now. So in 1985, we began giving out literacy grants to providers to serve adults who were functioning at a low literacy level. And we provide funding to programs for 3 different types of programs: adult volunteer literacy, family literacy, and workplace literacy. And we do that in a variety of ways, through community-based organizations, through libraries, through community colleges, through regional offices of education. In addition to providing grant funds to provide literacy programming, our office is charged with the responsibility of providing technical assistance to literacy programs and libraries. So that's how we first began to develop the story kits. In family literacy, there are 5 required components that programs must deliver, instructional components, one of which is parent and child together activities. And so in 1999, we began developing the tubs that had children's literature. They were based in children's literature, and they are prepackaged participatory activities for parents and children to do together. Each kit contains 25 to 30 copies of a children's title, and then most of the items needed to implement a family activity. And then a step-by-step facilitator's guide for them to plan and implement the program. The titles that we selected there were a number of factors that went into deciding what titles we would select, but 2 main criteria were that they had to be focused on reading strategies such as reflection, inference, prediction, and then that the extension activities provided multiple approaches to reinforcing the learning that we were hoping to achieve through these. So since 1999, we have been able to develop 25 different titles. Then in 2014, based on feedback from literacy programs that we were funding, they reported that learners were making tremendous strides in fluency and confidence as a result of participating in adult new reader book club, book clubs. And so in order to support that, as you're all aware of the financial crisis that our state is facing, we wanted to provide some support for our literacy programs to be able to offer these book clubs. So we were able to garner a little bit of money and put together some adult new reader book club collections. And since 2014, we have developed 23 different titles for adult new reader book club collections. Those collections contain 20 books, and then a discussion leader's guide that introduces the concept of the book and then introduces them to the author of the book. So in some cases, we do have audio books that accompany that so that the individuals can read along and listen at the same time, which as librarians you all know is a great strategy for making people feel a little bit more comfortable with the text that they're experiencing. In addition to improved comprehension and fluency, the Adult New Reader Book Club collections, the people who participated in those reported that they were reading more, and that they were really surprised that as part of the discussion that other people cared about what their thoughts were or what their feelings were, what their experiences were. So it was really, we were getting tremendous results. We were really excited about it. So this brings us to our collaboration with the autism program. So over the winter, the literacy staff and the autism staff discussed how these literacy resources that Debbie discussed that were ready and waiting to be used, how can we reach a broader audience? So at that time, Mary and Suzanne took a look at what we had, and they said, well, yeah, those are pretty good resources. We think that, they're fairly autism friendly with a few tweaks and then maybe some added guidance in the manual. Maybe we can, really make an impact, and we can offer some suggestions for serving individuals on the spectrum. So we sat down and kind of brainstormed and came up with some things. As a result, as I've alluded to, each of the kids has a facilitator's guide. And Debbie told you that we're adding a section in each of those. So there's a tab here that explains our mission. It also gives information about how to contact Mary and Suzanne if they want some individualized training, but it addresses topics of what libraries can do to make these types of programs more autism friendly. So it addresses things like providing visual clues, providing advance notice of transitioning from one activity to another, being aware of lighting and noise level. It gives a listen to some of the sessions earlier. There are real photos here that you can help prepare the learners that you're working with as to what to expect, what's available at the library, what's involved with having a library card, how to check out materials, things along that. So each and every kid, all 55 of them, will now have this autism-friendly adaptation section in there. In addition to that, we were able to get some money, and we've added 3 new titles, which we've highlighted here for you. For the Adult New Reader Book Club collection, we selected, with Mary and Suzanne's input, Rules by Cynthia Lord. You all familiar with this particular book? It's awesome, yes. Can you raise your hand if you're familiar with this? Okay. Well, I'll give you, since about half of you are not familiar, I'll just let you know that it's a book written from the perspective of a 12-year-old girl who has an 8-year-old brother with autism. They have a new neighbor moving into their neighborhood, and the young girl is hoping that she will have a new friend, but she's afraid that her brother's sometimes unanticipated reactions and behaviors are going to prevent this relationship, this friendship, from flourishing. So she makes up rules for her brother so that he acts more like the other children and won't harm her chances at making this new friend. It's a chapter book, and it's written probably at the 4th to 5th grade level. So for our literacy participants, we want to give them material that is relevant to them, but also at a level that is easy for them to read, so that they get introduced to the lifelong love of reading and learning. And then from the autism perspective, we're introducing the topic to people who either have family members or have someone in their life that they can maybe relate to a little bit more closely. So that's our Adult New Reader Book Club collection. We also, for our story kits, which are, as I mentioned, designed for children and parents to read together, we have All My Stripes. Is anyone familiar with that title? Okay, we have just one or two. It's about a zebra who has a different stripe, his autism stripe, but he is being introduced to the fact by his mother that he has lots of stripes. He has a caring stripe, he has a sharing stripe, he has all these stripes that make him the special zebra that he is. We also have developed, I guess I can't step away from that. We've developed an activity to go along with it. We have an outline of a zebra, and the ladies here have introduced us to the fact that it's important to have different textures and things, so the idea for the activity that accompanies this is that for each stripe that they lay across the zebra outline, they'll say something that makes them special or is special about their parent. And so there's a different, there's a red one for their special stripe or what really sets them apart from their family members. And then the last title that I wanted to introduce you to is My Brother Charlie. Anyone familiar with that title? Awesome, okay. It's about twin siblings, and Callie and Charlie. Callie does not have autism, Charlie does have autism, and it's a story of how lucky Callie feels to have Charlie as her brother, but that there are some challenges. He's not like everyone else, but it's really a celebration of how different Charlie is, and that he has the same emotions that everyone else has, but he just doesn't have an easy time of expressing that. So the activity that accompanies that title is flashcards that deal with emotions, so the parent and the child can kind of practice. If you're excited, what is an expression that conveys that? If you're happy, this is, an expression. So it goes through anger, worry, silliness, being afraid, and being sad. So I guess that's all I have right now. I'm going to turn it over to Debbie, and she's going to tell you how you can borrow these resources from the Illinois State Library.
Thank you, Beth. That was one of the best things we did this winter, was try to figure out what books would be adaptable for the autism and all the different activities. So how can you get these for any type of library? There is a handout sheet in your bag, and we do have a display. You've probably passed it by, thought, what does this have to do with autism? But it's there in the back, and I'm here to tell you it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to check these out for your library. And first, you contact your public library. If you're a school librarian here, you know how to do that. You probably have a relationship. You decide which of the story kits you want to check out, and they're all listed on our website. You select a date that you want to go ahead and check it out. And right now, since they're not all cataloged into iShare, you call the literacy office, and we do want you to call us and go ahead and schedule a date and maybe have an alternate kit that you would like, because one of these might already be out. And it'll come to you or come to the public library on ILDS, so there's no cost to you to borrow this. You can have it up to a month and then put it back to your public library, go back on ILDS delivery. So that's the way you can get the kits right now. In the future, they'll be on iShare for checkout. We have a display, like I said, in the back of the room with more information, and please do call us. I want to make sure this works, so call us. I want to see the statistics that these are going out. So I thank you for your interest and your continued good works for the patrons in your libraries, and what a wonderful connection of libraries and autism awareness. And because of you, libraries and patrons transform. Thank you.
Has any questions?
I just wanted to add that working on this project was probably one of the most fun things, to think that, wow, in our building, we can even collaborate internally. We've heard a lot about collaborating externally with our community. If you haven't read those titles, get them and read them. Rules,
Wait a minute, check them out from the library.
check them out from the library and use your story kit. But even rules impacted me because the mother represented in it reminded me of being the mother of 4 children, one who's diagnosed, the youngest, and his sister, who's older, who kind of is like, oh man, is Gerard gonna embarrass me again, kind of. So it resonates in so many ways. So these are really fantastic things. We were even blessed to be able to present at the Illinois Literacy Volunteers Conference recently, where we got to go up and talk to some of the literacy volunteers and show them these. It's so simple. There's so many things you can do to adapt what you already have, but why do that if you want a kit? You can check it out right here.
Thank you. Others?
I just wanted to point out that My Brother Charlie is the book that I referenced earlier in my presentation. And it really is a great book by the Peets. And there, as I said, there is another one about them as teens, young teens.
Have you done any work with any of the Next Chapter book clubs? No. Okay, I didn't think so. We have some in Skokie, the Skokie Public Library, and I was asking the woman I was talking to said they had one in Elmhurst. I was curious, are there many other, I just wonder if there are many others of those in Illinois. It's just very similar to what you seem to be doing with helping reading with adults with disabilities, young adults most with disabilities. And there's a really great short story collection that we use. What is it called? It's Lucky Dogs, Dating Jones, and I never remember the order. Lucky Dogs first? Okay, Lucky Dogs, Dating Don'ts, and
Well, we'd be glad to look at those, and as soon as we get more money, we'll be adding to our collection.
It's a really fascinating collection of short stories about young adults who are mostly have disabilities of one sort or another and are mostly navigating life.
Good.
Really great.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and put that down. Thank you very much.
I was just going to ask, just to kind of piggyback on that, I guess. Autism families, here locally, if they're able to join you in some type of a share, just to have them get their hands on it first and kind of trial it, that would be awesome. And then I'm hoping you all might have like listservs for all the state libraries or ways that you communicate with other state libraries, blogs.
We do. We can't. We don't really have blogs. Autism has a blog, and they have a Twitter account that they go ahead and keep.
I love this, and it would be really nice if other state libraries could hear all the wonderful things that the Illinois State Library is doing. I just really recommend that.
Where's our communications officer? Tell him about it. Thank you.
Our YouTube channel, this will be recorded.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone else have questions for the panel?
No, that's all right, I didn't say anything. I'm just going to plug ASCWA again because that's a great way to get out the word about this. They have the State Librarians group meets in ASCWA, and you can get the word out through them. Also, I'm happy to share it through Nyline with our state library.
Okay. Thank you very much.